Hi, my name is Dawn Todd, and I'm the founder of Wildly Successful Women. I'm a business coach, and I help women make more money and feel powerful and confident. I've spent over 10,000 hours with women just like you, having conversations about life and business and helping them find ways to feel wildly successful and make more money. This video is all about Double and 90, and it's the second video in a series, and today we're going to be talking about the grounded business practices you need to know in order to double your business in 90 days or less. If you didn't see the previous video, you might want to check it out really quick. It has some great information and as an overview, and also download the business plan, the one-page business plan, because you'll probably want to have it in front of you just for the math part when we get there, okay? So every duplicatable formula has a process that we can rely on to produce the same results over and over. It's almost like a recipe. And if you can understand the ingredients, then, and you know how to mix them up, you can get the same result each and every time, at least in theory, right? So Double and 90 is no different. There's a process that I use with all of my clients and that I teach that works each and every time. And that process is very easy to understand, okay? Here's the formula. You choose the correct key indicator. You put the proper amount of energy and attention on it. You take the right action and track your success. Sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? So these are the rules of the game. And Albert Einstein said, you have to learn the rules of the game and then play it better than anyone else. So most business conversations are really solid on knowing your key indicators, taking the right action, and tracking your success. On put the proper amount of energy and attention on it, maybe not so much. That's actually what we're going to talk about in the next video. But today we're going to talk about those numbers that you really need to know, okay? But before I jump into that, I want to talk about the most common questions that I get at this point. Things like, can I really double my business in 90 days? Could it actually be done? Can I do it? And what would it take? And how in the world would I do this, right? First of all, can it be done? Double and 90 begins with learning how to focus on what's important rather than urgent. And the definition of urgent is something that requires compelling speed or immediate action, as in right now. The definition of important is something that is of great value. So important activities create results and make us money. And when something is urgent, we rush to do it. And it's often someone else's emergency, right? And often a drain of our own energy. When something's important, we prioritize it, and we're able to hold our own energy and not let situations drain us. In everyday life, we're called to manage the balance between urgency and importance simultaneously. Sometimes urgent things are important and sometimes they're not. And so we're never going to have enough time for everything. So deciding what's really important and focusing on the important things is really vital in the Double and 90 process. Important activities are those things that make us feel strong and powerful, help us achieve our intentions, and they don't drain our energy. So let me ask you this. What one thing could you do in your personal or professional life that if you did it on a regular basis would make a tremendous positive difference in your life? I want you to write that down on the handout. What if you simply focused on only important tasks and left the urgency to someone else? In other words, don't bring your drama home to mama, right? Stay focused on the tasks that make you money and move forward with those. The key is to changing your mindset and your activity level. And once momentum happens, it starts to snowball. It's so much harder to bring something to a stop when it's got momentum once it's kicked in. So your goal in the next 90 days is to start to see opportunities everywhere. And up until now, maybe you haven't noticed things, maybe it's a conversation with someone who might offer you a great opportunity. Maybe it's a promotion. Maybe it's a new product that you can take on. Maybe it's a great idea for kind of reconfiguring what you're already doing. When you're open to those opportunities, they start to show up. So yes, it can be done if you're focusing on the important things like your correct key indicators and you know the actual value of a client and you know your ratios. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. So Key indicators, another very important concept. They are always a number, and they are actually the unconscious way that you're already measuring success in your business. So what I want you to do is think about when you think about success in your business and you're feeling like things are really going well, do you say to yourself, gosh, I've got enough clients, or I think I'm going to make enough money this month, right? However you're thinking about your success, that's the correct key indicator for you. And this is very important. It'll become very important in our next video. But for right now, I want you to think about how you define the success in your business, okay? What do you think your key indicator is? And I'm going to have you write that down at the top of the handout, okay? The next thing we really need to know is what's the value of a client, right? What is the value of a client? You have to know how much money you made last month, or the average, in order to know that. So right now, I want you to take the last 3 months of income, and I want you to average them. So add them up and then divide them by 3. And then I want you to divide that by the number of people that you served last month. So that will give you the average value of a client for you. So again, you're just going to take the last 3 months of income, add them up, divide it by 3, and then count the number of clients you served last month, and take the average income and divide it by the number of clients that you served, or sales, or widgets, or whatever it was, okay? That's the average value of a sale or a client for you. And I want you to write that down on your worksheet, okay? So now let's look at how we're going to calculate these doubling figures, okay? So you see a little chart there. I want you to put under day 1, that's the average income that we just calculated, okay? And under day 90, I want you to put a figure that's double that. So just for ease of math, we'll say on day 1 we'll have $100, and on day 90 we'll have $200, okay? Pretty easy. $100 on day 1. By 90 days we've doubled it. Now we're making $200, right? You know the average income for the last 3 months. You can work those numbers out, okay? So now what I want you to do is I want you to add the number from day 1 to day 90. So you're going to add 100 plus 200, it's 300, right? And divide it by 2. So you get an average there, okay? And that number is going to go under day 45. So now this little chart will look like 100 is where I'm starting, 200 is where I'm going, and 150 is right in the middle. And what this tells us is what is the goal for 45 days from right now, okay? If I'm starting at $100, that was my average income for the last 3 months, and I'm going to double it, then in halfway through the process, I should be about to the halfway mark, which would be about $150 in this case, okay? So now just a little bit more math, because I think you'll really see how this could work, okay? So now what I want you to do is I want you to take the average value of a client, and I want you to do the math by taking the number at day 45 and dividing that by the average number of average value of a client. So if you calculated that a client was worth, let's say $10 to you, and you know you want to make $150 at day 45, then we know you need 15 clients. So if a client's worth $10, you've got 10 clients, you'll have 15 clients, and then you'll have 20 clients at day 90, right? So this is really important information, because in order to really double, we have to know exactly what we're focused on, right? We have to really understand how we're going to focus in on this exact number and what it's going to look like, right? So I said earlier there were a couple questions that often comes up, right? Like, now that you know what we're going to measure and really, I guess, what the reality of it is, the question might be, should I do this? Like, do I have enough time and energy and focus? And maybe you can answer that by thinking about how would it change your life if you actually did double your income in 90 days? And maybe more importantly than that, you actually learned a process and tools so you could double again in the next 90 days. Like, it wasn't just, a one-time event, right? So how would having twice as much income change the way your world works? Who would benefit from it besides you? Your kids, your partner, your favorite charity, you, right? Amazing things that you could do for yourself. So ask yourself, if I had an extra, put this number here, if I had an extra $1,500 a month, what would I do with that, right? What would I do? It might sound something like, once I cover my bills, I've got this extra $1,500 a month, and that means the difference between just getting by and a little bit of money to actually play with. And if I'm already covering my bills, every penny of increase is just a better quality of life for me and my family. Remember, a small increase really matters a lot, right? So think about that, yeah. Now, sometimes people will say, well, what exactly would it take, right? So now what I want you to do is look at those numbers. You know how many clients or sales or widgets you need. What concrete measurable actions could you take in the next 90 days to double this income, right? Where's your low-hanging fruit? And by the way, if you don't know what that is, that's okay, because that's actually one of the first things we cover in class. But also asking yourself, what mindset would you have to change to motivate yourself to take this action? Where are you spending the majority of your time? And what habits would you be willing to change in order to see this goal, right? I mean, really think about it. We're close to the end of the year, and you could roll into a brand new year with a brand new way of looking at business, okay? So here's a great question. On your worksheet, please answer this question. What's the one thing that's the biggest obstacle to you doubling your income in 90 days? And what are you going to do to overcome it? This is really where the rubber meets the road. It's all about personal responsibility and doing whatever it takes to make it happen. We talked a little bit about actions, but I'm going to give you a couple suggestions for actions, kind of a little laundry list of things that I recommend to clients and things that we cover in depth in the actual Double in 90 class. Creating referrals, finding power partners, speaking and teaching, especially when other people fill the room. Big fan of having other people fill the room when I go to speak. Creating promotional opportunities, scaling your products and services, and giving back to the community. Remember, the right action for the right reason creates success. These are the basic action steps that I've used to build my current business, my last business, and the business of my clients. Now, which one of these are you going to start with? And I've given you these grounded business techniques, the numbers to double your business in the next 90 days, but really, that's only about half of the story. The real magic comes when we add in the element of energy and consciousness, and that's what I'm going to teach you in this next video.